I'm Dr. Kimberly Manning.
And this is Dr. Ashley McMullen. And you're listening to the Human Doctor Podcast, where we explore the human side of medicine, along with teaching, living, learning, and all things in between, using the power of storytelling, conversation, and connectedness.
Hey, we're two dope academic internal medicine doctors, but we ain't your doctors. So if you perceive anything we say here as medical advice, no, it ain't that. Also, the things we say, they only reflect our brilliant Black woman magic mind and not our employers.
You could have been anywhere, y'all, but you chose to be here with us, and we appreciate you. Let's go.
Good afternoon / good morning. It is afternoon in Eastern Standard Time. It is still the morning on the West Coast, looking nice and bright over there.
Yes, it is.
Mahalia looks really good. I like your hair.
Thank you. It's funny. I've been trying to put her back in a puff all weekend, and she just wasn't having it. I wasn't satisfied. She wasn't satisfied. So it was just whatever, we're just going to go big.
Yeah, give us free. Yeah,
yes.
she wanted to be out and proud.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. She looks good though. She looks really, really good. Yeah,
Thank
we
you.
haven't been addressing her as much as we should. I guess
maybe that's the problem. She's just like, make sure you notice me today.
She was like, you gonna see me. So Jules is back to keeping it classy. We took down our boho braids, and let me just pause for an explanatory comma for our listeners who are like, what is a boho braid? Okay, so when somebody gets their hair braided and they add hair to it to make the braids longer, which is what I had last week, there's this option you can have to leave parts of the hair out so that they're like these wispy, flowy pieces. And the effect is that you get this kind of wind-blown look that they call boho braids. I will tell you that taking boho braids down not fun.
Really?
0 stars. Do not recommend. Now, I do recommend the look because I was cute, you know. Jules was like, okay, protective style.
Yes.
Braids, wispy boho look. Okay, cool. It was cute. When you start unraveling the braid, every time you hit where the boho piece is, you have to stop and intricately take that piece apart and then, keep going. It's fine if your hair is short. So my hair is short in the back, so I could just cut them really short and then just. But hair the length of yours, it's like a painful process. And I learned that there are people who take down braids. That's what they don't put up braids; they take them down. So next time I get braids, I'm gonna find one of these braid taker downers.
Hey, I mean, you could throw me a couple racks. I'll take them down for you.
I was trying to make it a romantic venture with my husband. And he was like, yeah, let's do another thing.
I have two really good friends who have helped me take down my hair, Amanda being one of them. And I think that there is I don't know, there's something very joyous about that element of friendship. Someone that you trust to put their hands in your hair, to me, feels like
it's really intimate.
Yeah.
I will say my son Isaiah did take one braid down.
Okay.
And he was like, oh my gosh, you have to do this for every single one of these. This is mind numbing. That was the term he used. It was mind numbing. I was like, correct. I was taking my braids down, and then halfway through it, I just stopped and put the untaken down parts. I had an afro in the front and then just a braids in the back. And I put those braids in the back into a ponytail, and I went to bed.
Nice.
Because I have become extraordinarily focused and hardcore on sleep.
And okay. Noticing a theme. Yes.
Yes. I'm really obsessed with sleep. Was I talking about my sleep evangelism last week?
We touched on it,
Oh, okay. But yeah, that's right. Because I said you took a nap, you went to sleep. That's right.
Yes, that's what saved my entire week.
This is what I didn't mention. I didn't mention that I got an Aura ring.
Oh, okay.
Which is this piece of technology that can look at all your health metrics and a bunch of things. But the main thing it does is it looks at your sleep, and it looks at how much deep sleep you got, how much REM sleep you got, how long were you in bed, how long was your sleep latency, how long did it take you to fall asleep, how many times did you wake up, all these things. And then it gives you like a score, and then you get a readiness score for the day. It astounds me how disruptive alcohol is to good
Ooh.
sleep.
Yeah.
It really does. Even like a glass and a half of wine, oh my gosh, it jacks up your REM sleep or your deep sleep,
Hmm.
which is what you need to be restored. And so the other thing is that I have stopped drinking caffeinated beverages after 12 noon.
Wow. Because you
It's
used to be drinking that shit
huge.
at like 10
Yes.
p.m.
I love me some coffee. Now I do drink decaf,
Yeah.
but I saw from from my measurables and from my information that caffeine was impacting my ability to get deep sleep. If I don't have any alcohol, if I have no caffeine after 12, and if I go to bed at a decent hour, I it is very clear when I look at my deep sleep, and the thing is, how would this thing know? It's not like just gaslighting me or anything.
Hmm.
But yesterday, Harry and I had a little date night, and we went and out to dinner, and we tried these cocktails that they had special, and we between the two of us there were three cocktails, so I had a cocktail and a half.
Hmm.
Sure enough, my REM sleep was like okay, my deep sleep was whack. I got like 12 minutes of deep sleep, and you're supposed to get like almost an hour or more.
Yeah. You've got me rethinking some lifestyle choices right now.
Well, the other thing too that I'm paying attention to that I didn't pay attention to before is are these things that I hadn't thought of. Like I've heard of all the things like, oh, screens and da 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 blah blah.
Uh-huh.
But the temperature of your body. So making sure you don't have on too many clothes and that your
Yep.
room is not too hot. So the room should be cooler. So
Hmm.
I'm making sure my room is cooler than it had been before. I'm also not letting anybody even talk to me about things that could cause my mind to start to work.
Hmm.
And I have been getting off screen 30 minutes before bedtime. But what will happen is Harry and I would lay in the bed and we would talk about our children. And what makes a mom's mind work more than talking about your kids?
Mm.
Even if it's something positive.
Hmm.
Well, the mind of a catastrophic mother like me, you immediately like, oh, I'm so happy our son got a 3.9 cumulative GPA. Oh my God, but this semester he taking this, and this, and what is this? And now he lives in an apartment, and oh Lord. Even if you don't really like feel it or whatever, you're just like, and
Yeah.
I've also realized that even books that I read,
Yep. Yep.
like
Hmm.
that are like kind of self-helpy books or books that like are thought-provoking, they'll have me thinking.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to move to things that do not eat up a lot of cognitive energy,
Hmm.
make sure my room is cool, making sure to abandon a task that's going to keep me up too late, such as taking down braids. Yes, so I'm gonna get me a t-shirt that says Sleep Evangelist.
The new campaign slogan.
That's right.
I'm
Take your
here
ass to
for
bed.
it.
Take
Well,
your ass
thank
to
you.
bed.
I feel like the first beneficiary because, this is something that I think about not infrequently, but it's just like, every choice you make can contribute to how rested you feel throughout the week.
It is
So,
crazy. Even like your ability to be ethical or not
mhm.
can be rooted in how tired you are.
Yeah.
It's deep. It's so
Yeah.
deep.
Oof.
Take your ass to bed.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so Calvin Joe sent me a really great picture of you guys from the weekend. Where were you without me?
Uh, I mean, you could have come. It's just a quick little jaunt across the country. We were in Napa.
Work.
Hmm. Hmm.
Unfair,
Yep.
but
Yep.
okay.
Just a little cute Sunday afternoon in wine country. There's this thing called the Heritage Fire Tour. I don't know if you've heard of it because it's this kind of like culinary festival that occurs in different cities, and I'm pretty sure they have one in Atlanta. Basically, it's like really great chefs from all these restaurants that I would never get into on my own that come to these different places and you can sample these really cool dishes. And Calvin be knowing folks and his friends from Octavia in San Francisco gave us the opportunity to come to this festival.
That's not the restaurant he took us to, is it?
Not that one, but it's a sister restaurant apparently.
Mark.
So same
Okay.
folks. But it
I
was
need to ask
really
Calvin where I should go eat in Atlanta.
he probably could tell you, yes. But really cool opportunity. The weather was perfect. Like, and of course, like, it's all you can eat and drink. So yeah, my sleep wasn't spectacular last night, but my experience was. So lots of good stuff happening. And then I've been working my way through a book of essays by Alice Walker. She wrote The Color
Ooh.
Purple, of course.
Yeah.
But she is very prolific in other genres, and she has a collection of nonfiction essays called Anything We Love Can Be Saved. And it's
Oh
just
my
like
Lord.
a lot of really deeply soulful reflections that I think are very timely. So highly recommend.
Have you ever read the short story Zikora
Sakura.
by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie? That's her name up. Chimamanda.
I always be practicing before we start recording. So
Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie.
I'm here for it.
Practice-based learning and improvement. I
Yes.
acknowledge because I want to, her name is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to, I want to acknowledge her name and
Yeah.
not
And
be
names
echoing.
matter.
Names matter.
Yes.
Really. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. There's a short story that's only on Audible.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Zikora. It is some of the most beautiful writing I've ever heard. And it's only like an hour and 20 minutes long.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Worth it. Worth it, worth it, worth it. So check it out.
We good, sis? Anything else you want to share? Or should we jump
No,
in?
no, I'm delaying. I was, I was like, dang, can I pretend like it's not my week to tell us? But
I
no.
was like, I see the game plan unfolding, but alas, we will give the people what they want, which
Allegedly.
is the best part of the week. The best Mondays of the month are the ones in which we know Dr. Manning is bringing the fire, because she is, as I have said before, one of the best storytellers of a generation. And I, for one, feel extraordinarily blessed to be sitting right in front of you virtually to hear it first.
Aw,
So,
appreciate that.
with all that being said, Dr. Kimberly Manning, what is your first what of season 9?
Oh, my first what of season 9. Okay. Kings, Queens, and non-binary royalty. I have a what for you, and
Mm-hmm.
it is understanding.
Understanding.
I tell you something and you can make sense of it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So,
I get it.
right, you get it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, I'm actually going to take you back several years, but I also had an experience that brought this experience back up to the surface here recently when I was just on wards. And I like thinking about how stories teach us because how one story can inform how you handle something later. Um, and I remember there was this couple that I met when I was on the hospital service. This was probably about 10 years ago. And the the wife in this couple, and they were like, octogenarians or septuagenarians or something like they were pretty up there. But the wife had cancer and it was advanced and there was a lot going on at the time and we were trying to, work through a lot of things and ultimately we were able to come up with a meaningful plan, set up what was needed at home and get them home.
Mm-hmm.
I say them because he was there 24/7, 365 with his wife that he had been married to for more than 50 years.
Damn.
So I just grew to really care about them and love them. And, there's nothing better than the alley-oop of taking care of somebody in the hospital and then arranging for them to come to a clinic where you will be, where you get to see them again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't have a direct care clinic that's just me. I'm in the resident clinic most days, but I had set them up to see one of our residents in the resident clinic. So come in the room after the resident has seen them and we exchange all the pleasantries. I'd already fed forward a lot of the story to the resident. So, more than anything, it was just us coming in to sort of make sure that kick the tires, make sure the wheels had grease in it, and that they could go to all of their follow-up appointments. It really wasn't much needed from us. And so I sit in there and I start talking to them and I hear about the grandkids and what's the grandbabies doing and how, oh, guess what? We got a great grandbaby now, and that baby know how to work an iPad. And we laughed about that. And we talked and talked and talked and talked. And her husband was just like, yeah. And then we went over here to see to see this person, and they were nice, and they when we told them that you was our doctor, and they was like, oh yeah, we know her and everybody know you, and we laughed about that. And so we just kind of keep talking, and the oncologist was somebody who had been one of our residents before, and they're like, oh yeah, and the oncology doctor was like, tell you to say hi. They said hi, and blah blah blah, and she getting her chemos on this day, and even when we went to the radiation person, they knew you too. It was somebody that had been one of our residents, and I was like, yeah, when you've been here a long time, you start knowing people. So it was really really awesome.
Mm.
And we keep talking, and somewhere in the discussion, I use the word palliative. And I was like, yeah, and I actually I think you're going to do really well with the palliative chemo. I think so. I think I think there's so many people around. You guys got your family reunion coming up, and I'm just talking, and I say palliative probably like 2 times in a conversation. And it is the lightest, happiest conversation ever.
Mm-hmm.
And before all of this happened to her, you know, she had been well. She was a very healthy 70 something or 80 something. So this was not somebody that like was, had a ton of like active medical problems and was like, nearing the end of life anyway. This is somebody who probably could have estimated another 20 years ahead of them based
Yeah.
on how well they were doing before this happened.
Mm-hmm.
But this cancer was going to abbreviate her life, and it was metastatic, and any chemo option that they had, it was palliative. It was not going to cure it.
Mm-hmm.
So after all of that loving discussion, I say, what questions do you have for me? And her husband looks at me. He said, oh, I got one question. What do palliative mean? You keep
Mm.
saying palliative. What do that mean? How is that different than other chemos?
Oh God.
My first question to him was, nobody explained to you what palliative means? Didn't you see the palliative care doctor? Well, we saw them and they said they was there to help with pain, and they helped us with the pain.
Mm.
And they wanted to help her get her appetite better, and they gave us something to help her appetite, and it did. Is that what palliative is? To help your pain and to help your appetite? But what's palliative chemo? And I'm saying palliative because that's how he said it.
Yes.
He said, I like how you explain stuff to me in a way that make it clear to me. So I just want to make sure I know what do palliative mean for the chemo.
Mm.
Feet to the fire. No way to avoid it. And here's what I want you to imagine. I want you to get this visual. Picture somebody who has stuck a wand into one of those bubbly, like concoctions when you're getting ready to blow a giant bubble. And picture the delight and wonder of a kid or somebody watching you blow into that bubble, and it expanding and expanding and expanding and expanding, and it's floating in the room perfectly. And it's glistening and shiny, and it's awesome. That was how that encounter was. And the minute I started explaining what palliative meant for chemo, the moment when he understood what I was saying, it was like somebody took a pen, stuck it in there, and it just dripped to the ground. All
Oof.
of it. That's exactly how I felt. I will never forget that moment. So I say palliative care for chemo means They give you a medicine. It can't make it go away completely, but it can kind of slow it down in such a way that you can continue to enjoy your life. And with the help of teams like palliative care doctors, we can help with your pain, help your appetite. The radiation kind of helps slow some things down too. And he was like, I'm still not understanding that though.
Mm.
I thought that when you take chemos helps you to not have the cancer no more, like to cure it. Like I said, well, not all chemo, even in the best circumstances, will cure something. But it can slow it down. He said, I'm not following what you mean by slow it down. And he was always the question asker. She was
Yeah.
just always like looking side to side. And it wasn't really a gender thing. It was just more their personalities.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, it's kind of like mm, and you know, you start saying something and you're like, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
I said, it's kind of like a train moving on some tracks. And, you know, there's some situations where you can stop it altogether. You can stop the train, you can put it in reverse and stop it from going. He's like, but there's some situations where you can't do that. And you just can slow down the train.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get it to go a lot slower. And it's not as uncomfortable when it's moving as slow. You get to do a lot of things. I was thinking that it was going okay at first. And he's looking at me, listening. I'm thinking, okay, I think he's following, he's tracking. Because he's like, okay, we've had great lives. We got, you know, our 70 and and we over that. Been
Mm-hmm.
married 50 years. I think he's tracking. He was like, but if the train keep going and it don't stop, where is it going?
Mm.
And that was when the bubble popped. And I had to actually say, this is the kind of cancer that will try to take your life. And short of a miracle, we don't have anything medically to offer that will make the train stop. He said, so the train gonna crash? And I was like, well, I don't know that I would call it that. It will eventually slow to a stop, but it won't be where you want it to be.
Ooh, wow.
And he was like, but why are we going back and forth to chemos and radiations and all of that if it ain't gonna take the cancer away? They had no idea, like, how much time would this palliative chemo give us? How much?
Ooh.
So, and then I had been the primary hospitalist on the team, you know, caring
Mhm.
for him when they were leaving the hospital. And these were important questions.
Yeah.
They just didn't feel good to talk about in the hospital.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So fast forward to this, like last time I was on a hospital service, I had a situation very similar where somebody had an advanced cancer. The performance status allowed them to kind of maybe do some palliative chemo, and it felt so circuitous when we were trying to make goals of care plans. And it dawned on me, I was like, I need to make sure she understands that the chemo is not going to take the cancer away and that it's going to be palliative. So I just said it in the hospital, and she was like, wait, what? And she broke it down in a way that I'm going to hold. And she said, so if I take this chemo and it adds, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 months to my life, but 2 of those months is spent traveling to Grady, sitting in
Mm-hmm.
the waiting room and getting set up for radiation. That don't sound like living at all to me.
Ooh.
And she said, what do you think? I said, I think this is a very personal decision, but I do think that right now you're talking, you're in your right mind, you can crack jokes, you can enjoy things, and there are ways for you to not have to do all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, okay. So if I don't take the chemos, what you think we talking about? I said, it's probably going to be a shorter period of time. She said, but I ain't going to be hunched over no toilet throwing up. I'm not going to be riding in the car first thing in the morning. I'm not going to be getting yanked awake and yanked to sleep and sucked and poked
Mm.
and prodded. I said, yeah, that's one way to look at it, you know, but some people look at it like different than that.
Yeah.
You said, well, how I look at it is I don't want to do nothing that's not about to cure me.
Mm.
And I said, okay, well, I don't think this is about to cure you.
Wow.
Well, and that lady, I called her a week after she had left the hospital, and she was at the Golden Corral at an all-you-can-eat buffet, and I could hear her grandkids and family all in the background. I guess my point in sharing this is making sure that somebody's understanding aligns with what you're talking about and not dancing around something really crucial, such as what do palliative mean?
Yeah.
It's a game changer. That initial story I told,
yeah,
it went terrible. Nobody made eye contact with me anymore for the rest of the visit.
Oh.
But I saw them 3 weeks later. They were there for a palliative care meeting. You know, they had decided to do home hospice, and his wife still felt really good. And he was just like, yeah, you know, it's been going really well. And all the family and the grandkids been able to come and go. And, you know, in the hospital, you can't have everybody in there anytime you want. But at the hospice, you can have everybody there all the time. And he was ultimately pleased.
Yeah.
But it sucked in that moment.
Absolutely. It's something that obviously I think about a lot as a physician, especially as a primary care physician, watching folks struggle with a lot of chronic and terminal illnesses. But the power of the words that you choose in those moments, things like the palliative, like, you know, it's not something you can just toss around and assume that people understand what that is, you know, especially folks in communities of color.
Yep.
And I remember dealing with that even within my own family. And also, you know, words like hospice, which often are interpreted in ways that don't always reflect all that hospice can be and look like.
Right. You know, I was like kicking myself because I realized that I had not explained this word. And I know that it was like, even if it wasn't conscious, it was subconsciously me avoiding something painful.
Yeah.
And I was just giving counsel to a friend, helping her friend navigate what looks like something nearing the end of life for a loved one of theirs. And even for like highly educated people, nobody has concretely said, hey, for this thing I'm offering you, this is what you could expect from it in the best case scenario. And I get it. Like, you know, some people who are living with cancer, they are young. Or some people have something that they are going towards. They're like, my kid's graduating from high school and I'm trying to be there.
Yeah.
And even if I'm in a wheelchair with an IV in my arm, I want to be there to see my baby graduate. Okay. So now we understand we can have the conversation that what we're trying to do is help you make it to that point. But when you just start offering a whole bunch of things because these numbers say this and this study said that, without factoring in that, I love that that lady said, so 2 of my 4 months that I got, you mean to tell me I'm going to spend it in a car, waking up by an alarm and having somebody, you know, poking me and prodding me and me waiting in the waiting room? She was like, I am not doing that. I want all 4 of my months to myself. I said, damn, that's a word.
Right.
And the patient wasn't that old because what we do is we present it as it's not perfect. It's a gamble. But you think that the gamble is either I'm going to live and be in remission or or it's just not going to work. No, no,
Yeah.
no. Either it's just not going to work at all or you're going to get this much more time. And I'm like, man. And real educated folks don't be knowing that because these real educated doctors like us want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
And we want to be loved and liked, right? Because it was like, I was that girl up until that moment.
Yeah.
He knows you. Everybody knows you and loves you. I'm like, ting. Yes,
right. Let me be the one to just ruin your life real quick.
Yes, let me just tell you about how this is palliative.
Can I go back to that moment actually real quick? You know, up until this point, like they've been connected to palliative care and oncology. I guess, how did you navigate any emotions around how to either feed it back to your colleagues or like what your role should have been in that?
To me, the way I saw this is you are walking down a path and you think the path is taking you to San Francisco or to Napa. And no, and that's what your understanding is of where it's going. And then somebody says, whoa, whoa, whoa. This path you're on the path, but like that's not going to Napa or in San Francisco. Like this is going to, to wherever, to San Diego. Like this is going to
Inglewood.
Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Nah, because Inglewood is awesome.
Yes.
Oh, wait, did I shade other cities? Okay, anyway, it's going somewhere other than where you think. I don't feel like I need anybody's permission to let that be known to you. And it was a failure of all of us as communicators that was not understood.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, there was a resident in the room when we had this interaction.
Oh, interesting.
And
Okay.
it was so obvious when that piece clicked in. Wait, this is what's palliative? Oh, snap. It was so obvious that nobody had made sure they understood that. And what I'm learning is that that's common.
Yeah.
That's common. It's common for people to not know what's meant by palliative.
Yes.
So if you're going to give somebody some chemotherapy and you have something that's stage 3, stage 4, whatever it is, and there is no like study, no medical technology that we have that can take this away from you, short of whoever you pray to deciding for you that it's going to be a wrap, because divine stuff do be happening. But it's not going to be because of, some trial I put you in.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know what? Hey, for cures that have been found, maybe somebody did find that. But at this moment, what you got going on right now, what they talking about, this is palliative.
Yeah.
And you need to know what that means. So no, I didn't need to talk to them about that. I told them what happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, hey, this is what happened. And I do think it probably may shift what they want to do. Because with my patient, like a few weeks ago, when she understood what palliative meant, she was like, oh, I don't want to do that. I live far. Like, it's not like, and she just kept laying this thing out about, I'm gonna have to wake up by an alarm. I'm gonna have to get up, shower, get dressed, figure out who in my family gonna get me down here. Because I'm too, and wait for somebody to, and maybe even worse, I'm gonna have to wait for Grady transportation. They're gonna get me here 2 hours early. I'm gonna have to sit in the waiting room. I'm gonna have to wait 2 more hours after that. I'm gonna eat up a whole day. And you mean to tell me I ain't getting rid of this thing? Oh yeah, no, I'll pass. That's literally how she was talking to. I was like, I love you for this.
I love it. She's doing the work, which I wish we could do better, which is like create a picture of what this is actually going to look like and what it's going to mean. Because we can always do stuff. Like medicine has no shortage of things that we can do to you.
Yep.
But as far as what that's going to look like, both in the moment and afterwards, like I feel like we struggle to really paint that picture for folks in a way that they can really choose the future that they want.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the truth.
Yeah.
And the times I see it the most are when people are otherwise healthy, when you like them a lot.
Yeah.
And you're rooting for them. Yeah. And also I see it when things are like interesting. And obviously the worst thing you can ever be in the world is an interesting patient. So we are all works in progress. I wish I could tell you that, oh yeah, I've perfectly communicated ever since. No, I haven't. Because I mean, inside of me is still a middle schooler who wants to get picked for kickball,
Yeah.
But I do want to honor human beings enough to give them all the information they need for agency when it comes time to make as important a decision as how you going to spend the last amount of time that it looks like you may have.
Yes.
I mean, I don't do no favors to anybody by avoiding that conversation.
Yeah.
I just give you regret, and there's nothing worse. Nothing worse than regret. Nothing worse than regret.
Well, thank you for that good word. Not only as clinicians, who can always strive to do better with clear communication, but also like shout out to the patient who paused to ask. And just like, you using this word multiple times, I don't know what it means.
Yeah. With a smile on his face, because he just knew I was going to be like, oh no, it just means blah blah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just did not even see that coming. And I was like, shame on me for you having to ask it at this point.
Yeah.
Because like low key, we have walked way, way down the road at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned this even, in all relationships, with my spouse, with my children, with my patients, with my colleagues. You're going to mess up. But if you move in love and you don't run when you've messed up, and then you give people enough space to process, the love piece it'll remain.
Mm.
And it'll allow you a space to step back in. Because I was sure that family, when I ran into them, they weren't they were just like inside of the hospital, walking through the hallway, and they were happy to see me. Manning, hey, baby, hey, sugar. And I was like, I have never been happier to have somebody call me sugar and reach their arms up from a wheelchair for me than I was in that moment. Because I just was like, y'all hate me. And we all hate what was happening to her.
Yeah.
And it just, for me, just provided an opportunity for me to do a better job with meeting these human beings where they are.
Real talk.
Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully you have a good understanding of how much I care about you. And that Calvin has an understanding of how much of a way I feel about the fact that y'all was in Napa without me, but that's cool.
Yes.
My bubble was burst too.
Yes, but the love and intention was there. So we'll come back together soon, and we'll make it okay.
Yes, we will.
Yes.
Well, I love you, sis.
I love you too.
Make it a great week.
That wraps up this week's episode of the Human Doctor Podcast.
Special thanks to our favorite brother gastroenterologist, Dr. Chuma Obiname, for the beats. Shout out to the Dr. Ashley McMullen for editing and production.
Mad love to our podcast family at The Nocturnist and the Clinical Problem Solvers, our Med Twitter fam.
And especially shout out to all of you, our listeners.
Until next week, remember,
we see you and you are enough. Holla!